Countless people wish to write Oakland off. It's the city that lost all of its professional sports franchises. It's the town that has a litany of issues that will never, ever be solved. Those perpetuating these and other myths will need to live with their sins. The truth of the matter is, there are undoubtedly issues, but by and large, the East Bay is flourishing. It is a place of community. It's a place of diversity. It is a place where ordinary folks want to take ownership of their challenges and to try to solve their own problems. The most notable example of this is happening with the Oakland Athletics, where people from all backgrounds throughout the East Bay have united as one and tried to force John Fisher into selling the team. And if they can't do that, then it's to expose the corruption that now runs rampant in Major League Baseball. Sports have always served as a huge identifier to the people of the East Bay, all the way back from the Cal Golden Bears and that dynasty in the 1920s, the St. Mary's Galloping Gales, the advent of the Oakland Raiders in 1960. Then the A's come to town, the Warriors, the Golden Seagulls. Every team here has meant something to this community, and while many are no longer here or will no longer be here, they have always fostered a deeper sense of community to residents. The question often gets asked, what happened to Oakland, California? What happened to the East Bay? As if it is no longer here with us today. That, though, is the wrong question. You should be asking, what is happening in the East Bay? What is happening right now in Oakland, California? Because what is taking place right over there is truly extraordinary.
There are no better fans than you guys.
Hi, I'm Joseph Lasalde. I am born and raised in Oakland, California. I've lived here all 23 years of my life. What Oakland sports mean to me, representation, a sense of pride, a place where I can go to escape from my day job, go root for all three teams that I own, a part of, and just being there with all different people from Oakland or other parts of the Bay that are coming to check us out, and it's just a place to cheer on our teams.
We're a community that rolls up their sleeves and gets stuff done.
It's a beautiful city. There's beautiful buildings, there's great places to go for dinner and for a show and for whatever you want to do. Hills and trails and all sorts of things. And sports. I mean, there's wonderful sports things you can do in Oakland.
In the case of the A's, I always liked the fact that they were kind of this scrappy underdog that always overperformed expectations and stuff. I could always kind of relate to that identity. But you can only get kicked so many times as the scrappy underdog. And I feel like this whole fan movement was we got kicked for the last time and now it's the dog bites back. You know, that scrappy underdog is now a ferocious pit bull.
We don't take crap from nobody. And whether you want to keep dunking on us, okay, we're going to take that dunk and turn it into our greatest strengths. Like, for example, when everybody dunked on the Coliseum for having possums, Dodger Stadium had a possum this season. We took the possum and turned it into our mascot with the ballers. So it's like, keep giving us ammo, we're going to fire right back with something positive.
The East Bay will never be confused with Eden. Perfection this is not. Yet those in search of a place offering perfection will miss something far greater. Here, you will find diversity in all its forms. Diversity of people, thoughts, and landscapes. There is so much found within Oakland and the various cities and towns of Alameda and Contra Costa counties that you could spend a lifetime here and not experience it all. Amongst this diversity, there are some commonalities. Despite what you've heard, people here are hardworking. They just don't feel the need to brag about it like in other parts of America. The people of Oakland and the East Bay are driven by solutions and finding answers to their problems as opposed to waiting for others to step in for them. Most notably though, the folks here aren't afraid to stand up for what they believe in and fight for what's right. America hails the participants of the Boston Tea Party as heroes. In the United Kingdom though, they were lousy vandals. Perception is everything. Perception of Oakland and the East Bay outside the region is driven by entities desperate to see it fail. If the people here succeed by doing things for themselves without a bunch of whining, it makes all of those towns and counties in Middle America and the South begging for unskilled jobs to come back while putting in zero effort look like a bunch of spoiled, entitled brats. Or at least that is what the perception would be to those on the outside.
After the last game in the Oakland Coliseum, last A's game in the Oakland Coliseum, there was an article that talked about how fans stormed the field and threw trash on the field. And that was the headline of the article, which is completely unfair because although there were a couple of streakers who were quickly grabbed and taken off the field, it was pretty peaceful. I think there was maybe a couple of smoke bombs, maybe a couple of beer bottles, but it was incredibly calm. It was very peaceful. There were hugs, there were tears, there was nostalgia. It was a very, very beautiful send-off. And I just thought it was such a shame that this one news outlet decided to talk about the couple of streakers, a couple of beer bottles, and a couple of smoke bombs. That just perpetuates the bad rap that Oakland has. It's really unfair.
Regardless of what you may think about the East Bay, sports have often served as the center of this region's identity, a place where everyone could gather and unite behind a common cause. Teams that represented everyone, with the A's, Warriors, Raiders, and Golden Seals, I guess, having left, the narrative about this place has become one of decline. In many of these arguments, population decline is often cited as further proof of that. Those numbers, though, do not tell the entire story. There's no denying that the population in Alameda and Contra Costa counties has declined in recent times, but if you open the door instead of look through a keyhole, a fairly different picture emerges. Since 2000, Contra Costa County population has grown by more than 21%, and over in Alameda County, population rose by more than 12%. In the 2010s alone, Oakland's population grew by 12.8%.
My name's Todd Sarin. I have been born and raised in the East Bay, so I guess I've been here 36 years. Favorite sporting event of all time was Game 20 of the Streak.
This was without question the wildest win of all 20.
The housing market, as difficult as it is to enter, the reason that housing markets go up is supply and demand. People are clearly still buying homes out here, and despite the narrative of everyone's trying to leave California, well, then why are the house prices going up? I think it is an extremely desirable place to live.
No one wants to mention this, however. A global pandemic and what was likely too much growth meant migration from the East Bay was always going to happen. To frame it as some systematic decline ignores what had happened over the past 20 years, though. Better yet, 6 Bay Area cities recorded a population growth of more than 1% in 2023. 4 of them are found in the East Bay. The reality of the current situation, or what came before it, is often ignored or forgotten. In many ways, it is similar to how the town would welcome its first professional sports franchise who came in as visitors from the other side of the bay.
When the Philadelphia Warriors first arrived to the Bay Area, they were not exactly received with open arms. Not only did they play in a handful of venues over in San Francisco, but they liked to take the show on the road, and one of the first places they took that show to was right here, what is today known as the Henry J. Kaiser Convention Center, or what they called it back then, the Oakland Civic Auditorium. The Warriors played a handful of games here for a few different seasons during the mid-1960s. That stopped when the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum Stadium opened up. The Warriors would start hosting more games there, eventually moving to the facility full-time.
Despite playing in Oakland full-time, the Golden State Warriors' first championship victory would be a mostly San Francisco affair. They played games in the Cow Palace and held a victory parade at Union Square. There were some festivities on the other side of the bay, but nothing like what would be seen 40 years later.
5 decades after the Golden State Warriors first played here in Oakland, right behind me at the Oakland Civic Auditorium, the team would return here to celebrate the formation and continuation of one of the NBA's greatest dynasties. When the Warriors were hoisting Larry O'Brien trophies throughout the 2010s, it was here where they would come to celebrate and show it off in front of their adoring fans. From Oakland, from the East Bay, from all over, North Bay, South Bay, San Francisco, they all diverged upon this spot right in front of the Oakland Civic Auditorium with the beautiful Lake Merritt behind me. It was an incredible sight. Tens, hundreds of thousands of people all gathered here from diverse backgrounds to celebrate their championship team.
Hey, I'm Drew McGowan here in Oakland in front of Cato's. My favorite probably sports memory, I've had so many of them here in Oakland, but back in 2015, I had a rare blood infection. It wound up hitting my heart and I had to have emergency open heart surgery. They didn't give me many chance to live, but I obviously lived through it. And my first day out of the hospital, I got to go down to Lake Merritt and watch Steph and Clay and Dre, the rest of the Warriors team, have this huge parade of 1 million people. And it is a day I will never forget. It was the day after I got out of the hospital after not almost not surviving through the night. When I moved to Oakland 20 years ago, 2004, I immediately fell in love with this city. I love Oakland. I'm passionate about this place, passionate about the people and the community, the diversity. And the first team I started rooting for were the A's, and quickly jumped on board. The Warriors at the time were not a team that was exactly the way they are thought of now, let's put it that way.
The Oakland Arena. It's a building that's had many different names over the years, and it has hosted some good teams and some really, really bad teams. For me personally, this building is what I would come to when I got priced out of Kings games in Sacramento. When the Kings were exceptionally good during the early 2000s, it became hard for me to afford a ticket. And if I wanted to see NBA basketball, I would come down here to Golden State, where the not very good Warriors gave me that opportunity. And it was some of the most fun I ever had at a professional sports game.
To a lot of games just because the tickets were cheaper, and he gave away a lot of free tickets. So it's like I went to more Warriors games the pre-Lake Cup ownership. But when Lake Cup came in, he still gave away tickets every now and then, but it's like it was not as much as the previous owner did. I didn't see much of Steph Curry in the early years. I kind of got him in his prime, or kind of like 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16. 2017, that way the games got too expensive for me to go to, but the arena, most of my memories are tied more to like Disney on Ice, High School Musical, when they had the Disney on Ice High School Musical shows, and other events that weren't the Warriors.
I once watched a video on the Oakland Arena which tried to make it seem like this building was dead, decaying, that it just needed to be torn down. In reality, the opposite held true. Oakland Arena is far more profitable today than it ever was when the Golden State Warriors called this building home. Concerts, community events, this building has a full calendar year-round that makes it more successful than it ever was in its history. Sure, Oakland Arena may not have a professional basketball team or even a hockey team in the case of the Seals/Golden Seals, but what it does have is a successful business model. Why would Oakland need to build a new venue when this one is doing just fine?
That being said, the door is always open for a Warriors return, even for a game or two. While Chase Center may be a cash cow, Oakland Arena has something the new building does not.
The arena, the way it was also built, where it's built into the ground and the roof is low, the sound just vibrates in that place. That place, I've been to games at Chase Center, it's not the same. It's not the same. If the new young players on the Warriors get to experience that, I think a lot of them would like understand firsthand when they're on that court. They're playing for the most rowdy fan base in all of sports, which is Oakland.
If the city of Oakland, if the East Bay had a heartbeat, if it had a pulse, it would emanate from right here, the site of the Oakland Coliseum and Oakland Arena. The city's triumph, some of its greatest moments happened right here on this site. World Series wins, NBA championships, NFL playoff victories, not to mention the host of stars, musical, that have played right here in these two venues. You cannot buy history. For all of the Coliseum's faults, for all of its issues, which everyone is more than aware of, no one is denying those problems, it also has a significant amount of history, an amount of history worth preserving.
So my name's Carl Morin. I am one of the 3 founders of Last Dive Bar. I primarily design a lot of the t-shirts and things you see. My favorite memory in East Bay Oakland sports has to be game 162 from 2012, when the Oakland Athletics beat the Texas Rangers to win the American League West on the last day of the season.
The Oakland A's have shocked the Rangers and the baseball world.
In a season when they weren't expected to really do very much at all, and they swept the Rangers in the last 3 games. I took my dad to that game, and I've never seen the Coliseum explode with so much energy. They're not built to be amusement parks. They're not there to entertain people based on the building itself. They are built to bring people together and enjoy a really fun time together, watching a great team, and even sometimes not a great team, but that's okay. Just bringing people together who are great people and enjoying a moment and not depending on sort of the novelty of the building to do it. Most of the buildings in the East Bay, like the Coliseum especially, and even the arena before it got its makeover in the 90s, and even Raimondi Field, they all have their charm because they may not be the prettiest buildings in their leagues, but they're home, and they bring people together, and everyone has a great time when they go.
People will read stories about the Oakland Coliseums, or they'll look at photos and they'll go like, you know what? That place is a dump. Maybe it is, but it also has something you can't quantify. When you drive up Interstate 880, when you come from the Coliseum BART station and you just bask in its presence, you look at it for what it is and you appreciate the history, the tradition, the community that comes out in Oakland to watch ball games at that stadium, well, it's an experience unlike anything you will ever feel.
For moments, every single person just becomes family. Every single person just becomes best friends. After game 2 of the ALDS 2013, it was the game that Sonny Gray pitched against Justin Verlander and the A's shut him out. My buddy and I sat in our seats and high-fived every single person that walked past. You know, it wasn't like just high-fiving the people who made eye contact. It's our hands were out there for everyone. And every single person walking by was high-fiving, cheering. You know, it's like everyone just becomes family in those big moments.
If you go to a game at the Coliseum, to me, it's all about the people. Both the players on the field, the employees that work there that are losing their jobs, but to the fans. And any fan group would probably say the same thing. You're going to say, we have the best fans. And I don't know if we have the best fans, but we have the loudest, most passionate fans I've ever seen. And to be able to go to a Tuesday night game where maybe there's not that many people, but the people that are there care and support their team and do fun chants, and you have the drummers out in right field. When I first had season tickets, there were drummers in left field too. And it was just such a unique thing for me to join and be a part of that community, that it's just such a special, special place because of the people.
There are some beautiful new venues in sports, and they have rides, or they have restaurants or bars or lights and all sorts of signage and things that make them flashy and fun to go to regardless of what's happening on the field. And the Coliseum doesn't have that. But what happens especially at the Coliseum is fans would go who knew about the sport, who knew about the players, knew about trades and Super 2 status and the Rule 5 draft and all the things that most fans never really deal with. And another thing that happens, especially with recent Oakland A's history, is we would learn about all sorts of things happening off the field. A lot of front office decisions and political decisions and relocation and all sorts of things that, again, don't have anything to do with what's happening on the field, but they're related to them. You get this group of very knowledgeable, very passionate fans who are only going to the game because they care so much about it that they're going to go see it in person. And if they were the type that were really only wanting to be entertained by a building or by the kind of a frivolous, sort of entertainment venue, then that's not what we had at the Coliseum.
And that starts as soon as you show up, whether you're taking BART or you're driving or you're riding your bike. That parking lot, when there's 4,000 people in the stands, there's still probably 1,000 people tailgating. And then certainly for like a sold out 55,000 game that we had at the Wild Card in 2019, the tailgating, there were 25,000 people tailgating. And people are like, compare that to like a college football tailgating or maybe the Packers or something. But it's such a special thing for baseball. I don't know any other baseball teams that have fan bases that tailgate. And that is something super special that I'm really gonna miss.
I guess so. It's home. It's home for me and for a lot of people. For most of us, that's where we go on our summer nights to go watch A's baseball. In the fall when the Raiders were here, every other Sunday, you get to see that's also part of the memories. Taking BART to 2 games.
It's the biggest mixed bag of people. I mean, and that's one of my favorite parts of, being in the East Bay is like, you can have on BART a conversation with someone from an entirely different walk of life just because you're wearing the same hat or just because you're wearing the same color. It is such a melting pot of places in an area that is such a melting pot of socioeconomic backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, you name it. There's just such a mix that you get commonality within that group.
Oakland is a giant crucible where you just put in a bunch of different people and it's just a melting crucible of different cultures, different flavors, and just a variety of different people.
I think having that from a young age definitely made me come to appreciate that diversity so much more. We're in La Miranda right now, which is like the quintessential East Bay bubble, where, you know, it's affluent families, predominantly white. And so I guess escaping that bubble and just getting to interact with people and learn about different cultures, experience different things. I mean, it's such a treat that we have at our disposal here, but unless you have a venue for that mixing pot, you don't really get that a lot. And so I'm a dad to a 20-month-old, and that's one thing that like was most heartbreaking to me, is that I can't give him that same connection to all of the different diverse people in the area that I had through baseball.
What I love about Oakland, and it's why I'm choosing to raise my kids here, is the diversity in what people look like, how people act, how people think, and how people care about what's going on here. There's a passion that I've never seen before in any place I've ever lived. I've lived in New York, I've lived in Washington, D.C., and what you get here in Oakland, besides really some of the best weather in the world, but it all comes down to the people, and the people are really special.
The East Bay is so much, it's much more than Oakland. Oakland is well known partially because it's in one of the largest markets in the country. The East Bay is beautiful. It's the perfect combination, as you can see literally right behind me, of nature and structure. There are beautiful bridges, there are beautiful hills, and there's lakes and coastlines and historic buildings in downtown areas, and fun places to go on a hike or a run. There's really good food, really good restaurants, really fun bars, really great music venues, and there's all sorts of community, and I can hear the train going through. So there's commerce, there's a great combination of industry and also residential. It's really just a blend. It's a melting pot of so many different walks of life. Without stepping foot in it and experiencing it, it's so easy to get the wrong idea about the East Bay.
There's so much to love. One, the weather. We're sitting outside in a beautiful day. It's, sunny, bright blue skies. In addition to that, you have so much at your disposal within a short drive away. Whatever you're in the mood for, you can find something to do. That also, it comes back to the whole cultural melting pot thing. Like you can go have some Brazilian food and then walk 2 doors down and get some Burmese food. There's so many different ways to experience the various cultures and stuff that exist here.
It kind of lets me know that there's other people that exist in this world. It's not just me on this planet. There's different people here that are all just trying to make it a new perspective that you may not seen from your perspective.
You go to the Coliseum, you go to a Roots game, you go to a Ballers game or a Soul game. The diversity of the fan experience, the crowd, is like something you'll never see. I love going over to Oracle Park and seeing the Giants. Beautiful stadium, absolutely gorgeous. But you're not going to see the diversity that you get at sports venues in Oakland. And I think our country, frankly, could use a little bit more of that. Getting people together around a common cause and supporting each other and cheering a team to victory is a really special thing. And I think Oakland has done it so incredibly well. And we'll continue to do that with the Roots and the Ballers and the Soul, because that's something that no sports team owner can take away from us. We always will have that here. We'll have that passionate fan base.
I think it's an incredible thing, and if properly harnessed, I think you can easily get packed crowds of those type of fans and become one of the most potent fan bases in sports, because if you have fans that are engaged to actually watch the game, that's how you get home field advantage, that's how you get all of that fan energy supporting the players and making it harder on the opposing players.
The most passionate, rowdy, loyal fan base you could ever have.
That passion, that energy has been directed towards the owner's box for the past 18 months. The Sell the Team movement has become the largest, best organized fan-led protest against bad ownership in sports history. It is also one that could have only originated in the East Bay, where you have vast levels of fan engagement along with people not afraid to fight back.
The fan base has taken it upon themselves, put it on their shoulders, this whole idea of a sell movement, and trying to get people to understand our story and not let other people tell that story for us. I never would have thought this would have gotten out to as many people, where you have national media, national sports broadcasters, and just regular everyday people that read like the New York Times have heard about the plight of the Oakland sports fan, not necessarily the organization. And I think they're starting to better understand what the fans have been through here. The amount of times I heard over the years, well, the A's should leave because there's nobody in the stadium. If you were treated like this by any person in your life, would you continue to go back? It's an abusive relationship that the ownership has and that organization has with its players, frankly, its employees, and certainly the fans. And it's time that we stood up for ourselves, and that's what has happened.
You can only get kicked so many times as the scrappy underdog, and I feel like this whole fan movement was we got kicked for the last time, and now it's the dog bites back. You know, that scrappy underdog is now a ferocious pit bull. Huge tip of the hat to Jorge Leon, who is the founder of the Oakland 68s. He was kind of the visionary, and he's an Oakland born, bred through and through. He really appreciates the fact that Oakland has a reputation of fighting back. You know, people of Oakland, if they're kicked, they'll kick back. He gave everyone a blueprint to how to fight back.
I think the big reason why A's fans decided to fight is for a number of reasons. One, because we love our team and we didn't want to lose the A's. But two, professional sports ownership, especially what sports owners do with their teams and their cities and their fans, is kind of getting out of control. They can decide to spend or not spend whatever they want or don't want to spend. They ask for fans to come to games. They try to, get fans to show up and really love their team unconditionally. But then if they decide, oh, well, we're done here, we're going to go on somewhere else, forget the fans. Never heard of you. So I think the reason why we decided to fight is to bring awareness to this unfair, ridiculous situation that was going on in Oakland. How, really all of the plans they say they tried for 20 years or whatever, not even close to true. I think that in addition to just trying to keep the team and trying to keep our community and keep our family, it was also to bring awareness to the situation and how ridiculous it was. So the Sell the Team movement, it really started in 2006 when the A's were planning to move to Fremont. And then it came back to life. And by the way, I believe it was the Oakland 68s in the right field bleachers that started it. And then again in 2009, 2010, it couldn't do that because the Giants had territorial rights. The Sell the Team movement came up again. And then it really, really took hold, and that became sort of our battle cry last year in 2023 when they announced we are moving to Vegas. And so that's when A's fans decided, you know what, we're gonna do a reverse boycott. We're going to chant Sell the Team, and it spread across all ballparks and all states and all the counties of California and other countries. I mean, the Sell flag is it's a whole badge of honor. And I think that in addition to trying to just keep our team and trying to keep our family together, it was really trying to bring awareness to this situation that's getting out of hand.
A lot of this is people like myself with, skills, talents that they'd love to find a way to plug in. They gave a platform and an outlet for people to voice their frustration and channel it into something that collectively makes our many voices heard as one. Probably the biggest one for me would be Fans Fest. I just poured personally so many hours and so much time with all of the permits and planning and stuff like that. Seeing that come to a success and hearing the people who attended saying that was one of the most seamless events. I was so stressed out that all of my meticulous planning would just go out the window day of, but we had a plan, we executed. Every single person in the Oakland 68s and Last Dive Bar and all of our friends and partners delivered. We had, even Trevor May, he came out on his own dime. He bought his own flights. He is 100% was there to support the fans. And, you know, I've seen reports of upwards to 20,000 people there. You know, we weren't counting. Maybe something to think about next year is like a turnstile or something. But anyways, it was just an incredible event. And looking back on that, it just like makes me so grateful about what power a handful of individuals putting some blood, sweat, and tears into something they've never done before can accomplish.
The biggest moment that I'm the most proud of, not just for myself, especially not for myself, but for the East Bay, for Oakland, for A's fans, the proudest moment by far is the reverse boycott. I still have chills thinking about just kind of in the moment when it actually happened, in the moment in the top of the fifth on June 13th, 2023, when, despite my skepticism before it all happened, when I first heard about it, I thought we're never going to get that many people. They're never going to be quiet for that long. They're never going to do the chant in the right sequence. They're going to be out of sync. It's not going to work. I just didn't really think it would happen. And then it started gaining traction. And then it started getting, you know, quite a buzz on social media. And then there were t-shirts. And then Oaklandish got involved. And then the 68s and Last Dive Bar. And we all kind of had a piece in it. And then big tailgates and cheer cards and instructions and coordination and excitement. And then we all went inside, and it was an intense environment. And then the top of the fifth happened, and everyone knew what to do. We all stood up. We all got really quiet.
My wife told her, "You can't have cotton candy, you're allergic to it." And she believed it all the way.
Except for a few people who forgot to read the cheer cards. And then after that first batter, I remember he hit a just under the glove of our third baseman.
Just swinging a fair ball inside the third base line.
There was kind of a lull for a second.
And Siri's going to turn and make his way to second, and
And then I still remember I was sitting close enough to hear Hal the hot dog guy chant "Sell the team," and he started it on our side, and they started it over in the bleachers. And
Seth gets it back in.
And then it just picked up, and it was very, very passionate, loud fans, unanimously in perfect sync, in perfect unison, screaming "Sell the team," to the point where our pitcher had to stop and check his earpiece because he couldn't hear.
At the Coliseum.
It was amazing that no matter what happens, we will always have that moment when we very loudly told the sports universe that we're not just going to sit and take it. We're going to try to fight, and we're going to do everything we can.
When Cal Memorial Stadium first opened in 1923, it was the hottest ticket in all of the Bay Area. The sturdy Golden Bears were on a major run of success, going undefeated in multiple seasons and even winning a national championship during that time. The team was so popular that not everyone could actually get a ticket to see them play in their new digs. A creative, resourceful group of individuals and students found a solution though, but to learn more about that, we actually have to take a bit of a hike to get there.
The history of Tightwad Hill has not been particularly well kept over the years. Students, faculty, and fans have just trekked up this incline overlooking Cal Memorial Stadium since 1923. It exists. If you want to watch a game up here, you're more than welcome to. However, that right would come under threat in the 2000s.
As Cal officials were looking at how they were going to redevelop Cal Memorial Stadium behind me up here in Tightwad Hill, the local governance took arms to protect this really what is one of college football's landmarks. Those Tightwad Hillians though, they did not simply put their foot down and say no, or we don't like this, or don't do this. They wanted to be a part of positive change. After everything was said and done, when the dust settled, Cal Memorial Stadium underwent renovations, which makes it one of the most beautiful and historic college football venues in America, while protecting the tradition that can be found right here on Tightwad Hill that goes back more than 100 years.
This episode highlights another exceptional trait of the East Bay. Everyone retains a practical mindset. Folks aren't afraid to ask questions or push back when something does not make sense. And suffice to say, in the case of Tightwad Wad Hill, canceling out decades of history to make a few quick bucks at the expense of fans made no sense. Perhaps more interesting, if those individuals here don't like the circumstances, they do things on their own.
Oakland is built differently. The people here are going to do their own thing. They march to the beat of their own drum. Even in the realm of sports today, citizens of the town are not simply sports fans, they're sports activists, and they're becoming increasingly sports owners thanks to clubs like the Oakland Roots and here in West Oakland, the Ballers.
I wanted to get involved as an investor because I saw two teams, and first the Roots and what they were able to accomplish, and then the Ballers more recently, that they were committing to Oakland. And I think what that proved and why so many people have jumped on board and wanted to invest in a small piece. I mean, it's not like we're going to go to owners meetings and do all that kind of stuff and make a lot of decisions. But we have a small piece. We have a small stake in these teams. And the fact that these teams were smart enough as both purpose-driven organizations, you don't see that in sports. Sports teams are here to make a profit. I'm not saying they're not trying to make a profit, but they also care about the community. They care about supporting Oakland, our kids, our schools. And it was a no-brainer for me to first join as a investor in the Roots, and now more recently in the Ballers. And I'm so excited about what that means for the future for both teams as they have fully committed to Oakland.
There are certainly shortcomings with the Oakland Ballers in terms of Raymonde Park itself, in terms of the operation. All of that is far from perfect. Make no mistake, I've been a skeptic as well, but you cannot deny the attempt, someone trying to do something different as it relates to sports here in Oakland.
Before it got turned into the Ballers' home, that was where a lot of Little League got played and a lot of high school baseball got played, and I got to play it on the old Droid Gopher Hold baseball field. And now seeing it as a professional baseball field, it's just wow.
There has been an increasing appetite for fans wanting a seat at the table. You know, if we're going to invest our entertainment dollars in your product, we want to make sure that we're getting some return on those entertainment dollars in having a sense of like belonging and community with that team. If I'm going to rock that team's gear, I'm advertising for them as I walk down the street. I want to make sure that they're supporting me back.
This is a place, this is a team that you can touch, that you can feel with your own two hands. It's not sitting far away where fans are simply left as a means to an end. This is a team, this is a sports ownership structure where fans themselves are the end.
While I own a very, very small part of those teams, I do feel like I have somewhat of an open door to reach out and talk to the organization, certainly to other fans, and figure out what's best. And I've been able to reach out to both the Roots and to the Ballers personally, and they've actually talked to me, where there's zero chance if I had reached out to Mark Davis with the Raiders or certainly John Fisher with the A's, that, or probably Joe Lacob with the Warriors, that they would ever talk to me. And the opposite has happened with both the Roots and the Ballers. And it makes me feel just really good about their commitment to Oakland. Our kids here, having teams here that people love to support.
While the Ballers have seemingly found a home for the time being, the journey of the Roots and more recently Soul soccer clubs has been far more circuitous. They will play in the Oakland Coliseum starting in 2025, but getting there took them all around the East Bay.
The field here at Laney College plays an important part of the grassroots that is Oakland sports. Look, it's just a community college, a junior college, but the players that have come through here have gone on to do some amazing things over the years. More importantly, though, it's just the opportunity local athletes and athletes all over Northern California have to continue participating in athletics. Beyond that, though, Laney College had a huge role in helping the Oakland Roots get off the ground during its first few seasons in Oakland. The atmosphere for Roots games at Laney was absolutely electric. They truly made this venue their own. It was loud, it was rambunctious, it felt like a true football experience, if you will. Look, it would be easy to diss Laney as just being some bleachers, a small press box, a goofy colored turf field, but it's far more than that. Well, the turf color is kind of goofy. The gray, green stripes Beyond that though, the venue here at Laney College, it's quaint, it's intimate, but you also get a sense of importance here from the football practice, the track practice. It just means something to the town that really cannot be duplicated. Today, it's called Cal State East Bay, but it was previously known as Cal State Hayward. And in those CSU Hayward days, about 30 years ago now, they had a football team. There are many remnants left of the Pioneers, but you still see a few of them right here at Pioneer Stadium. Perhaps none more evident than the scoreboard behind me, which was still around during those football playing times. I mean, check out the megaphone sound system there and tell me that doesn't scream 1990. When the Oakland Roots were informed they could no longer play at Laney College, there weren't a lot of options left for them in the East Bay. In fact, by process of elimination, they ended up here in Hayward, California at Pioneer Stadium. The venue has served them well. It's far from perfect, as you can see. It's just bleachers, a nice turf field, but lacks a lot of amenities that other USL clubs have at the moment. The Oakland Soul spent their season playing here on the campus of Merritt College. No one would say this was the perfect solution, but it was a solution nonetheless. There's a lot of flux happening in Oakland right now with stadiums, with teams, so much coming and going. They just wanted to have a chance to build their foundation, set that foundation in place for them to grow. With women's soccer in America continuing to grow as well, this is seen as a perfect opportunity for team and town to come together and to really just expand, uplift the sporting scene here in Oakland. Like the Roots, the Oakland Soul will spend 2025 playing down at the Oakland Coliseum, giving them even more opportunity to reach new fans across the East Bay. I mean, no disrespect to the beautiful campus of Merritt College, but it's not exactly the most accessible. It's not exactly a place most people in and around the East Bay know exists. If I'm being fully honest, I never understood Oaklandish or the East Bay mindset until I saw the Oakland Roots play here in Livermore, California at Las Positas Community College. The only reason I chose to attend the game in the first place was because it seemed completely random for the Roots to be playing right here. I just wanted to see what it was all about, and what it was all about was community. It was about people supporting their team, stripping away all of the unnecessary components of sports fandom, the parking, the food and beverage, all of the amenities that we get so wrapped up on. It was about people coming out to support their hometown team, even if it was miles away. Make no mistake, Oakland is not right around the way from Livermore. It takes a bit of a trek to get here. Of course, it didn't really matter because the Roots are an East Bay team, and the East Bay turned out to see their side, their club, play right here on that August day. I was blown away by the fact that roughly 1,000 or so people bothered showing up for this event. I was expecting an attendance in the low hundreds, maybe, if it were to be so lucky, but it wasn't just the numbers, it was the feeling, it was the interactions between people. That is what made this event truly special. The match I saw here holds a special place in my heart as far as sporting events I've ever attended. It was an occasion that I'll never forget. Maybe not so much because it was this spectacle or it was this grand sporting event. I mean, the game was good itself, but it really offered me a chance to fully comprehend just what it meant to be from the East Bay. It wasn't about comfort or luxury or being seen or all of these other things that sports have now become. It was about being a part of your community. It almost felt in a way like civic duty, that those in the East Bay felt they had a duty to come out and support their team, and they did so in an environment where everyone seemingly knew each other. It was a thing of beauty, and it was a thing that we do not get in most sports nowadays.
This is not something limited to sports. The local business scene throughout the East Bay is filled with SMEs wanting more than transactional relationships. The community and people here mean something to them, and the residents mean something back.
When we had Drake's drop out as a beer sponsor last minute, which questionably was at the A's had some fingerprints in that, Canyon Club was the first one to reach out and say, hey, we saw about Drake's. We'd love to jump in and sponsor you guys. And so they came out. They not only did they donate the beer, but they also donated the staff, their time, the jockey boxes, the whole tent setup and everything. So they went way above and beyond and to me, that was like, as a fan and one of the people planning that event, like that means so much to me. And that meant so much to the fan base that someone like that would step up and just say, no, we're going to come in and crush it. This used to be a Wachovia bank, this building. And so I know, kind of hard to believe, right? And then Wells Fargo, which is right down there, bought Wachovia, and this building sat with a vault and everything like that. And when I heard that Canyon Club, they were putting a brewery here, I was like, what the hell are they going to do? Like, how are they going to reform that space into a brewery? And sure enough, they did it. They blew out the vault, used that whole vault room for the beer tanks and stuff like that. It was a cool transformation to see of the space. Kind of like we were saying about sports teams and being a part of their community. These guys are very much a part of the community.
The food here is amazing. Like behind you, Powder Face, they have really good coffee, smoothies, fraps, beignets. The beignets are good. And then there's like several different taco spots within like walking distance that they're all good. No matter which one you pick, they're all good. Even though the worst one of the bunch is still better than anything outside of Oakland.
So if you've never been to Cato's, first of all, you need to come and check it out. When the first time I came here, I'll never forget it. Me and my wife were looking at houses, really small starter houses. And we were looking both in San Francisco, where we lived at the time, and over here in Oakland. And there was a house just around the corner from Cato's that we looked at and said, let's go check out that place. It looks pretty cool. And I'll never forget, we both had a beer and stared out the window at what we thought might be our next neighborhood. And we have now been living in this neighborhood for, we just hit 20 years earlier this month. And please come. It's a special place because of the vibe, the employees, and the people that come to Cato's. It's absolutely one of my favorite places in the world, and I ask you all to join us here at some point and check it out for yourselves.
If the East Bay is dying, apparently like nobody got the memo. I was gonna go get a scoop of ice cream over at Finton's Creamery on Piedmont. Can't get a parking space all along the street. Like the closest one was a mile away. Decided, you know what? I'm gonna go see what's happening in Alameda, one of the most wonderful parts of the East Bay, and it is just as busy, if not busier, here.
It was line out the door stuff at Scolari's Good Eats, as tends to be the case here, but that blueberry bacon, blue cheese burger, oh man, it is always worth the wait. People want to lament the loss of In-N-Out or other big brands, but this creates more opportunities for those wanting to be in Oakland and in the East Bay.
I don't know, I kind of see it as a blessing in disguise when a business like In-N-Out leaves, because that kind of puts people in a position where they got to go try something else if they're craving that burger, and that's how they end up stumbling upon, you know, this mom and pop burger shop that becomes their absolute favorite because it's 1,000 times better than In-N-Out. The local communities have so much to offer, and keeping money within the local communities only creates more opportunity for them to have more to offer.
Make no mistake, the East Bay's food and beverage scene is off the charts. However, there are many local businesses in other fields doing things better than those big brands could ever dream of. You have Renegade, also known as Renegade Running, the most inclusive running and fitness shop you'll find anywhere in America. There's the crew over at Rent-A-Relic who have persevered for more than 30 years in an industry dominated by national chains. Mr. Mop's Toy Shop in Berkeley has delighted generations of East Bay children. There is CoBiz Richmond, the nonprofit business incubator helping revitalize Main Street in Richmond. Sector 19 is Hayward's Family Fun Center and a place that is the go-to for birthday parties. Sundoor Salon has become a symbol of the Mongolian community, a group many people didn't even realize was in the East Bay. There are countless entrepreneurs in Dublin, Livermore, and Pleasanton launching their own businesses and following their dreams. You have every type of music imaginable, every type of art imaginable. If this is what a dying region looks like, we would all be so lucky. You have Oakland Central, who has organized Oakland Works Wednesdays and a number of other initiatives. These all do wonderful things to show people what the town has to offer. The Unity Council has been working to improve the Fruitville neighborhood for 6 decades and has become a leader in getting affordable housing built in California. The Oakland Black Business Fund and Oakland Latino Chamber of Commerce are among the organizations helping to close the wealth gap and provide wide-reaching support to groups who have too often been neglected. On the very first day of journalism school, you learn a simple lesson. If it bleeds, it leads. Oakland is a prime example of that. There are so many out there obsessing over the negative that the positive simply goes unnoticed. Some will confuse this as the positive does not exist. But let me tell you something, the positives happening in the East Bay right now far outweigh the negatives. This is not to dismiss the problems and challenges that are present. More work needs to be done to solve these. But if you put the blinders on and obsess over those, you miss out on everything else taking place. In America, there are countless communities bragging about how blue-collar they are or how hard they work. Usually, the same individuals and communities blithering on about this are ones berating Oakland as lazy or terrible or citing any number of other falsehoods. The reality is Oakland and the East Bay operate with a very simple mindset. Don't talk about it, be about it.
Really, the culture of being action-oriented, results-oriented is just celebrated here rather than shunned. It's not like this, hey, that's not the way we do things around here. Keep your opinions to yourself type of culture.
Locals here don't brag or boast about their accomplishments or achievements because it's irrelevant, and in the case of hard work, laughably hypocritical. If you're talking about how hard you are working, chances are you don't know what hard work is to begin with. Here though, in East Bay, in Oakland, the population is surviving and hoping to thrive. No words needed. If you looked for yourself, you'd probably see it too.
It's a blue-collar town. I think that the Raiders and the Black Hole and the A's had a green-collar baseball slogan one year. Oakland's the city across the bay from San Francisco. And San Francisco, has higher rent and, to be honest, worse weather. It's a little bit colder over there. It's nicer weather in Oakland, but it's, for whatever reason, it's just hard to shake that reputation. And it's really kind of unfair to Oakland because it's a beautiful city.
Up in the hills just to the east of Oakland is St. Mary's. This is a school with an athletic program that has unapologetically always been willing to do its own thing, the quintessential East Bay attitude. From the Galloping Gales that traveled America coast to coast, putting on a college football show, to the modern basketball program, a perennial top 25 team that has gone about team building in its own unique fashion, St. Mary's does things differently. The Gales' home, the University Credit Union Pavilion, certainly does not look like it would host a top 25 college basketball power. In fact, you could argue it has the trappings of many high school gymnasiums, at least on the inside. And on the outside, well, if you've lived in California, you're very much familiar with the architectural style on display. Despite what some may perceive as facility shortcomings, the Gales have had no such issue attracting recruits from across the globe to build what has become one of the true underdog stories of college basketball.
The A's may be gone, the Raiders and Warriors are definitely gone, the Golden Seals are long gone, yet Oakland and the East Bay remains defiantly optimistic over the future of sports. A major reason for that is the new owners of the Coliseum and Oakland Arena site, African American Sports and Entertainment Group.
So since they own the entire plot of land, they can entice whoever they want. They've already gotten a lot of calls from every league looking into what their possibilities. Expansion keeps happening in a lot of different sports. They could bring a football team. They could bring maybe a basketball team or a minor league team. They could bring another baseball team, like an expansion baseball team when the league decides to expand to 32 teams. Because the A's used to play in I believe it's the 5th or 6th largest market in the country. Now they're going to move to the 40th largest market in the country. So with them owning that land, I think that it opens up a lot of opportunities. And just in case things fall through in Las Vegas and maybe Sacramento's too hot with, you just never know what's going to happen. And so the A's could come back, or if they don't, there's a lot of things that could happen, whether it's baseball or another sport or another league. And so I don't know, but I think that there's a lot of opportunity, not just at the Coliseum site, but there are lots of other sites.
I actually think, maybe in a weird way, that the future of sports here in Oakland is very bright. We have obviously the Roots and the Ballers that are smaller organizations and have tons of room to grow. But we also have arguably the best player in the NBA, and Steph Curry. Him and his wife Aisha started a foundation called Eat, Learn, Play. And they are dedicated to helping kids in Oakland have better food to eat, have better opportunities to learn, and have better places to play. In fact, their foundation just announced a $25 million grant to Oakland Public Schools to help with tutoring. They are committed to this place, the city of Oakland. And if they are committed, I feel really good that other organizations, other people who have some money to spend are going to join in and be a part of what's going on in Oakland. So while the A's might be walking away, I feel really good about what this city is creating in both the roots and the ballers, the soul. To see what's next, I'm really excited about it.
The future for Oakland sports, it's Pioneer League Baseball with the Oakland Ballers. It's the USL Championship, which is Division II soccer in the U.S. Soccer's pyramid with the Oakland Roots, and the Oakland Soul with the USL Super League. Yeah, that's the future of Oakland sports right there, or those three teams, and we'll see what comes next. We have an Ultimate Frisbee team now with Oakland Spiders. We'll see who else wants to come and join Oakland.
You know, I'd like to think that that the various leagues recognize what we have here, but if they don't, shout out Ballers, we've got teams that are here that want to be here. They're here because they recognize what this area can give to them just as much as they recognize what they can give to this area. I think that there's never going to be death to Oakland sports like you see parroted so often. Honestly, I think Rob Manfred was right in that he said if they leave Oakland, 10 years down the road, they're going to realize it was a mistake and regret it. I think he was probably right back then and not so much now.
There is one last location to visit, a place that was an original hub for sports in the East Bay, and one that represents a huge part of its present and hopefully its future. Today, and for many years now, this site has been the headquarters of Pixar. But once upon a time,
it is the site of Old Oakland Ballpark, the home of the Oakland Oaks. Ironically enough, it's actually in Emeryville and not Oakland, but that's a whole other can of worms. This once hosted a famous number of names throughout the 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s, all the way up to 1955. This unassuming, rather unimpressive site is the location where most Oaklanders' love of baseball and sports in general can be traced back. All that remains today of Oaks Park is this plaque. What happened to most of those old PCL ballparks? They just didn't withstand the test of time. What did withstand the test of time, though, is the love Oakland has for its teams, from the Oaks here in the 10s and 20s all the way today to the A's, and in the future the Ballers and Roots. That passion that we saw all the way back at this very site carries on throughout the city, in present and into the future.
Eden is a biblical construct of perfection, the unobtainable. The East Bay is real in every sense of the word. Real people, real challenges, real fans. It is not perfection, nor will it ever be that. Then again, no place in California, America, or the world is perfect. People who take shots at Oakland and the East Bay either don't know the full story or willingly neglect the truth.
Just come and experience it and take away what you want to take away. Whether we change your mind, we change your mind. If we don't, we don't, and that's okay. We can show you who we are, and accept us or don't. It's it's not a big deal to us. What happens, because at the end of the day, we all are living our lives.
Friends of mine or family come and they've heard things about Oakland, but when I take them around and show them around and show them what a beautiful place this is on so many levels, almost all of them walk away a huge fan of Oakland. And I think all of us need to get out there and really tell Oakland's story, and don't let others tell our story for us.
The A's are not just Oakland. They're the East Bay. And, people look at crime stats in Oakland and stuff. You pull crime stats in Moraga, they're going to more than offset the Oakland crime stats. If you pull from a wider, greater Bay Area, and that's where the A's, or that's who the A's serve, is the greater Bay Area, the greater East Bay. It's not just Oakland. But Oakland is such a centralized location for the entire East Bay. So the A's aren't leaving Oakland. They're leaving all of this.
Oakland did not lose its sports team. The city and the people of the East Bay took a stand. They did what they have always done and will likely do in the future. approached situations with a rational mindset and looked for practical solutions. Mark Davis and John Fisher never ever wanted those. Even though their major league teams are gone, Oakland does not want your pity or sympathy. The fans here want your attention because theirs is a story that can happen anywhere else at any time.
One more piece of advice that I'd like to give to anyone who's a sports fan of any team is if you think, oh, well, that's too bad what happened to Oakland, that's a shame that they lost their team, and it's just something that happens to us and maybe a couple other teams, it could easily happen to your team. Your owner, at some point, if things start to go south and start to get difficult and the owner decides to find greener pastures somewhere else, but even if things are going great and they just decide, well, I can find something even better because they're going so great here, they'll probably go even better somewhere else. I think the Warriors are a great example of that. Things were going great in Oakland. They were selling out every game. They were winning championships. But they realized, well, we can make a lot more money if we go over to San Francisco and build a new arena over there. So you know what? They did it, and they are. It's really easy to think, well, that's probably not going to happen to me. Unfortunately, sadly, it could, because billionaire sports owners can kind of do whatever they want, and unless they are stopped, it's just going to keep happening. So just be careful. They'll break your heart.
The teams that remain are firmly part of Oakland and the East Bay. Truly rooted. The Roots and the Soul, the Ballers, these are organizations that don't see fans as means to an end, demanding more while giving back nothing. None of these organizations are perfect. Like Oakland and the East Bay as a whole, they each have issues and problems to overcome, but they are real, and that's all anyone in this part of the world wants. Too Short, Green Day, Marshawn Lynch, Gary Payton, Dennis Eckersley, and so many others. Mark Curry and Mahershala Ali, Lloyd Noel Ferguson, and Lydia Flood Jackson. The story of Oakland and the East Bay is a rich tapestry of individuals blazing trails, breaking molds, and doing things their own way. It is nonconformity at its finest. A look around at the city's sporting venues is further proof of that. From baseball's last dive bar to a burgeoning top 25 college basketball program playing in an unassuming ranchero-style gym. If you don't understand Oakland and the East Bay, you will think these are ugly, old, and unloved. Maybe they are old and ugly, but they are very much loved. They also represent far more than a place for a team to play. They represent the people and the mindset here. They are distinctly East Bay. The thing no one wants to tell you about Eden is that it's boring. Perfect is inherently uninteresting. It's too good, too sterile. If you have everything, you cannot appreciate anything. As far as teams, stadiums, places, people, and businesses are concerned, keep your Eden. The sports world and the world at large is a better place with the East Bay and Oakland.
To the staff who've dedicated their lives to the Oakland A's, especially those who aren't coming with us, I am forever grateful and will never forget you.
An authentic energy that you get when you're in the confines of Oakland. There's such a uniqueness about this part of the country that once you experience it, you kind of carry it with you.
And I ask you for one more time to start the greatest cheer in baseball. Let's go!